Good evening, Rolling Meadows. Welcome to the October 23rd, 2018, 7:30 meeting of the City Council. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cannon.
Here.
Budmetz.
Present.
Majikis.
Here.
Gallo.
Here.
Banger.
Here.
Diastis.
Present.
Williams.
Here.
Seven here and none absent. We do have a quorum. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from the October 9th, 2018 City Council meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? If we have a motion for Mr. Banger, has it been seconded? Ms. Majikis, is there any questions, additions, or deletions to the minutes? Seeing none, the question is, shall the minutes be approved? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. None, excuse me. I do need a motion to deviate because we are going to give out an award. Do I have such a motion? Mr. Budmetz has made it. It's been seconded by Mr. Cannon. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Chief, here we go.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. It's my pleasure today to be here to present our first ever Rolling Meadows Police Department Community Partnership Award to Meyer. If I could invite Director Brian Latch to come on up here. Let me tell you a little bit about Meyer and why they're receiving this award. Meyer is not one of our just largest retail establishments in the city that provide obviously outstanding goods and products for this community, but they are a partner and a friend of the police department, the Community Events Foundation, and the City of Rolling Meadows. Let me tell you a little bit about what type of support Meyer has provided and how much they have given back to this community. They have provided support for a National Night Out event. I believe this year they provided over 3,000 meals to the residents of Rolling Meadows for free. They help support our Family Service Day. They've also provided, I think at that event, about 300 to 500 hamburgers. They provide funds for a community bike ride, our community block party, our Shop with the Cop. For Shop with the Cop, Meyer provides the funds for 20 families for the children to provide and buy presents for their families. Some of these children have never been able to do that. And like I said, this is all made possible for Meyer. So because of all their generosity and kindness, they are receiving, if Carlos could come on up here, Officer Sayas has the Rolling Meadows Police Department Community Partnership Award. I don't know if you want to show it to the camera. And I will read the award to you in just a second. In recognition and sincere appreciation of your continued service to the public, goodwill, generosity, and committed partnership with the City of Rolling Meadows Police Department and Community Events Foundation, on a yearly basis, Meyer has shown a consistent, unwavering compassion and outpouring of generosity to this community. Meyer's kindness and support has made the following events possible: Family Service Day, National Night Out, Shop with the Rolling Meadows Police Officer, Resident House Decorating Contest, Community Bike Ride, Public Safety Car Show, and Block Party. It's an honor to have Meyer partner with this agency on so many of these worthy causes that help make Rolling Meadows a great place to call home. The Rolling Meadows Police Department is extremely fortunate to have such a friend within our community, and as a token of our appreciation, present Meyer with this Community Partnership Award. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will say, for those of us that were at National Night Out, Myers had quite the crew there, pumping out those hamburgers, I mean, and those meals. That was quite amazing. There was actually more food than there was people this year, so. This now brings us to the public hearing for the library for the 2019 budget. The City Council is scheduled to hold a public hearing on the library for fiscal year 2019 budget. The purpose of this hearing is to invite oral comments from interested citizens concerning the library's fiscal year 2019 budget. Let the record show that this meeting opened up at 7:34 on October 23rd, 2018. Is there anyone who wishes to speak regarding the library fiscal year 2019 budget? Is there anyone that wishes to speak regarding the library's fiscal year 2019 budget? Let the record show that the public hearing closed at 7:36 p.m. on October 23rd, 2018. This brings us to the public hearing for the city fiscal year 2019 budget. The City Council is scheduled to hold a public hearing on the city tax levy. The purpose of this hearing is to invite oral comments from the interested citizens regarding the city fiscal year 2019 budget. Let us show the hearing that they opened up at 7:37 p.m. on October 23rd, 2018. Is there anyone that wishes to speak regarding the city's fiscal year 2019 budget? Is there anyone here that wishes to speak regarding the fiscal year 2019 budget? Let the record show that the public hearing closed at 7:38 p.m. This brings us to the mayor's report. The city of Rolling Meadows always has things going. I had the opportunity to go to the firehouse, the open house. Chief, guys did a great job as usual. I mean, especially if you want to bring your grandkids, they do an amazing time to entertain. They had a great grand opening of the Pita Pita restaurant, which opened up at Golf and Algonquin Road. So if you like Mediterranean food, that is definitely the new spot to go. I did attend a conference and some meetings regarding tobacco use and smoking and vaping. And as a result of that information that was provided, I've asked the city manager and the city attorney and our police chief to look at raising the age of sale of tobacco to age 21 and to come up with ordinances regarding vaping, which is also known as e-cigarettes. So we need to go forward on that. It's been happening in some of our surrounding communities, and vaping is becoming a serious issue. So right now we have no regulations on selling it other than you're 18. So I just wanted to put that forward. And I would challenge anyone on the council. This Sunday is the Shannon McNamara race. Anybody want to go 5K? I'm just doing the 2-mile walk, but I just thought I'd ask if anyone wanted to do the 5K. Mr. Cannon?
No, thanks.
Okay,
I appreciate
thanks.
the offer, though.
All right. That leaves us to ward reports. Seeing none, the council meeting is now open to members of the audience for 20 minutes to address the city council on matters that are on the agenda or regarding other issues. We ask that persons wishing to address the city council keep their comments to 5 minutes in length. Comments must be addressed to the city council as a whole through the mayor, and profanity may not be used in any form. We have one signatory, that would be Steve Hollish. Thank you for coming forward this evening, sir.
Good evening. The only reason I'm bringing this issue up tonight, it came up on the last committee of the whole meeting, and that's the property at 2400 Algonquin Road. I sat through the whole meeting, listened to it, and I'm very appreciative that you're finally moving forward to selling the property. But one of the things that was kind of disheartening is that you couldn't come up with a good value on the property or a good starting point. And as the handout or the agenda listed, that we spent over $270,000 on 21 feet of the property, 21 feet by 300. The rest of the property, which is 60 by 300, there was no mention to it. So I think that if anybody going forward should look at that property, it should be starting base $270,000 and not do any of the improvement that have to go along with it, as the electric or the 21 feet ripping up the asphalt. I think that that should be just on the person buying it. That's their responsibility. They're getting an extremely large piece of property for a good price. And being that the only evaluation of the property was back in 2008, I think you should go forward, get an appraiser, get an accurate price, put a sign on it, and get it for sale and get it going. In conjunction with that, I think that you all should be looking on some sort of plan to sell the rest of the property in the city. And that, I mean, when the fire departments move, get that sold. Both stations should go up for sale. You may want to look at Public Works, and my favorite, across the street. That lot should go up, a sign should go up immediately, and it should be sold. These are things that are outstanding in the city, and they should be acted upon very quickly. And I know that there's some people saying, well, you can't put a sign up on the fire stations because they're still active. You can put a sign up to see if there's anybody interested. It takes a long time to sell a piece of property, and if there's no activity, nobody knows it's for sale, that's going to be a dead issue. So why wait till the last minute? Let's act now, get signs up on them all, and see what the responses are. Thank you.
Thank you for coming forward, Mr. Hollis. That's yours, that's mine. The council moves to its first order of business, which is consent ordinances in for the second reading. Ordinance A, number 18-44, repeal limitations on the tax levy specific to the fire stations project. This is a second reading. The ordinance, if adopted, will create an additional exception to the city's property tax cap limitation ordinance. The passage of the attached ordinance is necessary to allow the city to issue bonds in 2018 and 2019 for the costs related to the acquisition, demolition, and construction, furniture, fixtures, and equipment of future fire stations located at the properties commonly known as 3201 Algonquin Road and 2320 and 2350 Hicks Road, Rolling Meadows, Illinois. This ordinance has been revised since the council approved the ordinance at the first reading. The revisions consist of stating that the amount of the 2018 bond is $9,500,000 rather than $9 million. The purpose of this 2018 bond mirrors the purpose provision in the bond ordinance, and the proposed 2019 bond will include funding for infrastructure improvements which are separate from the fire station. Do I have a motion to move forward? Mr. Banger has made that. Do I have a second? Is there discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Banger.
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
Bud Matts.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
No.
With 6 approved and 1 opposed, that ordinance, it does move forward. That brings us to ordinance B, number 18-45, to approve a water rate increase. Second reading. This ordinance, if adopted, will increase the water fees effective March 1st, 2019. The Utilities Fund is an enterprise fund and consists of services for water, sewer, and stormwater. It accounts for the administration, operation, and capital investment for the city's utility systems. Capital improvement continues to be completed across the city, as a note. The Baxter and Woodman utility rate study, prepared in 2015, detailed the city's current funding increases parameters of 7% for water, 5% for sewer, and 5% for stormwater, as well as other funding options. The study also recommends adopting a fund balance policy for the utilities fund at some point in time of approximately 25% of the utility fund's expenditures. The city's ad hoc capital improvement committee reviewed proposed capital improvement projects outlined in the fiscal year 2019 proposed budget. The City Council will be reviewing an update to the utility rate study by Baxter and Woodman at future COW meetings. As discussed during the initial fiscal year 2019 proposed budget presentation, The city is proposing increases sufficient to produce revenue and reserves to cover utilities funds administration operating, Jawa water, and capital improvements. Utilities rate increase shown in the fiscal year 2019 proposed budget are 7% for water, 5% for sewer, and 5% for stormwater. As a reminder, the utilities funds has a IEPA loan which will be paid until fiscal year 2033, one water, one sewer. In addition, there is one general obligation bond that matures in fiscal year 2020. The water rates currently and the proposed are, the first 15,000 gallons are $11.55 per 1,000 gallons, $12.36 per 1,000 gallons in 2019. Over 15,000 gallons is $13.20 per 1,000 gallons, and $14.12 per 1,000 gallons in fiscal year 2019. Do I have a motion to move this ordinance forward? Mr. Baner has made that. Do I have a second? Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Diastis,
No.
Williams,
Yes.
Cannon,
Yes.
Bud Matts,
Yes.
Majikis,
Yes.
Gallo,
No.
Baner.
Yes.
With 5 in favor and 2 opposed, the ordinance is approved. This brings us to ordinance C, number 18-46, to approve a sewer rate increase for our second reading. This ordinance, if adopted, will increase sewer fees effective March 1st, 2019. The Utilities Fund is an enterprise fund and consists of services for water, sewer, and stormwater. It accounts for the administration, operation, and capital investment for the city's utility system. Note that capital improvements continue to be completed across the city. The Baxter and Woodman utility rate study prepared in fiscal year 2015 detailed the city's current funding increases parameters of 7% for water, 5% for sewer, and 5% for stormwater, as well as other funding options. The study also recommends adopting a fund balance policy for the utilities funds at some point in time of approximately 25% of the utility funds expenditures. The city's ad hoc capital improvement committee reviewed proposed capital improvement projects outlined in fiscal year 2019 proposed budget. The city council will be reviewing an update to this utility rate study by Baxter and Woodman at a future COW meeting. As discussed during the initial fiscal year 2019 proposed budget presentation, the city is proposing increases sufficient to produce revenue and reserves to cover the utility funds administration, operating, Jawa water, and capital improvements. Utility rates increases shown in fiscal year 2019. Proposed budget are 7% for water, 5% for sewer, and 5% for stormwater. As a reminder, the utilities funds are an IEPA loan that will be paid until 2033. One water and one sewer. In addition, there is one general obligation bond that matures in fiscal year 2020 for the utilities fund. The current and proposed rates are, the current rates are $3.45 for the first 15,000 gallons per 1,000 of water to $3.62 per 1,000 in that 2019. For over 15,000 gallons, tier 2, it's $4.08 per gallon, per 1,000 gallons, to be raised to $4.28 per 1,000 gallons in 2019. Do I have a motion to move forward? Mr. Baner has made that. Mr. Williams, second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Williams,
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
Bud Matts,
Yes.
Majikis,
Yes.
Gallo,
No.
Baner,
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 opposed. This ordinance is approved. Ordinance D, number 18-47, is to approve the stormwater rate increase. The ordinance, if adopted, will increase stormwater fees effective January 1st, 2019. The Utilities Funds is an enterprise fund and consists of services for water, sewer, and stormwater. The Utility Fund accounts for the administration, operation, and capital investment for the city's utility system. Capital improvements continue to be completed in this area. The Baxter and Woodman utility rate study, prepared in 2015, detailed the city's current fund increases parameters to be 7% for water, 5% for sewer, and 5% for stormwater as other funding options, as well as other funding options. The study also recommends adopting a fund balance policy for the utility funds at some point in time of approximately $25,000 of the utility funds expenditures. The city's ad hoc capital improvement committee reviewed proposed capital improvement projects outlined in the fiscal year 2019 proposed budget. The City Council will be reviewing an update in the utility rate study by Baxter and Woodman at future COW meeting. As discussed during the initial fiscal year 2019 proposed budget presentation, the city is proposing increases sufficient to produce revenue and reserves to cover the utility funds administration, operating, Jawa water, and capital improvements. Utility rate increases shown in the fiscal year 2019 proposed budget are 7% for water, 5% for sewer, and 5% for stormwater. As a reminder, the Utilities Funds has an IEPA loan that will be paid until fiscal year 2033, one for water, one for sewer. In addition, there are a general obligation bond that matures in 2020 for the Utilities Fund. As presented in the fiscal year 2019 proposed budget, the stormwater management fee is proposed to increase 5% from $433 to $476 per unit per month. It is a 23-cent increase per month per unit. Residents pay for 1 unit per month. Note the stormwater rate is effective with the January 1st utility bills, is not based on service dates. Revenue from the stormwater management fee is used to maintain the stormwater sewer infrastructure, including 60 miles of underground storm sewer lines, 5 miles of opening drainage ditches, 100 culverts, 3,000 catch basins and inlet structures, 1,500 stormwater sewer manholes, 43 outfalls, 11 miles of Salt Creek stream bank, and numerous detention and retention facilities. Implement new stormwater management program mandated by the Federal Clean Water Act, and fund capital projects such as repair and improvement of the underground storm sewer system, stream bank, and stabilization and rear yard drainage project. Do I have a motion to move this ordinance forward? Thank you, Mr. Banjer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there a discussion? Yes, Mr. Diastis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do we have any idea when the new Baxter Woodman study is going to be complete, so that to be discussed at a future COW meeting, and any idea of when we will receive any information on the fund balance policy for these?
Mr. Crumstock?
So December is the scheduled new release date that we hope to have everything done with the Baxter Woodman. So we are shooting for that date. Obviously, we're still doing some review and back and forth. And the other part is, at this point in time, the Utilities Fund is not scheduled to have a discussion with the council about a fund balance policy on this one, because it's still so volatile with certain items that we have and with the capital. So this is not one of the ones that we plan to have a discussion with the council in the near future. Obviously, the garage fund is one of the ones that we will be bringing in 2019.
So we won't even be talking about the fund balance policy in 2019?
Not on utilities.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion, questions? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cannon.
Yes.
Bud Matts.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
No.
Banjer.
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and 1 opposed, that ordinance moves forward. This brings us to consent ordinances in for the first reading. This is to approve a tax levy abatement. During the annual budget process each year, the City of Rolling Meadows abates certain property tax levies for general obligation bond ordinances that are filed with Cook County. By abating these bonds ordinances each year, the property tax levy will not include the annual principal and interest payments for these bonds. The debt service is paid through other funding sources. It is not levied by the City of Rolling Meadows. If the City Council decided not to abate these taxes, the property tax level levy would increase by the annual debt service payment amounts. Is there a motion to consider this ordinance for first reading? Mr. Baner? Mr. Majikis has seconded. Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Bud Matts?
Yes.
Majikis?
Yes.
Gallo?
Yes.
Baner?
Yes.
Diastis?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
With 7 in favor and none opposed, this ordinance moves forward to second reading. This brings us to ordinance number F. This is to approve the issuance of General Obligation Bond Series 2018. The ordinance, also known as the Bond Parameters Ordinance, is presented to the City Council for consideration and approval. The ordinance, drafted by the City Bonds Council, Caton, Mulchin, Roseman, LLP, authorizes the issuance of not to exceed $9,500,000 principal amount of general obligation bonds. Proceeds from this bond sale will fund the construction of 2 new fire stations, including land acquisition, demolition of existing structures, engineering and design costs, and the acquisition of furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Is there a motion to move this ordinance forward? Mr. Baner? Mr. Cannon, thank you. Is there a discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Majikis?
Yes.
Gallo?
No.
Baner?
Yes.
Diastis?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Bud Matts?
Yes.
With 6 in favor and 1 opposed, this ordinance moves forward for second reading. This brings us to ordinance G. This brings us to G, a motion to approve the payments of bills and warrants on the 10/23/18 as presented by the Finance Account Department. Is there a motion to move this warrant forward? Mr. Diastis has made that, and Mr. Baner has seconded. Is there any discussion? Mr. Kello.
I noticed that there is a charge of $65,648 to R.C. Wegman Construction for the demolition of Hicks property. Who authorized that?
So, Mr. Crumstock, did you, or we, okay. Just want to know where you wanted it directed for this one, okay?
I can answer that. It's part of the project that work was competitively bid by R.C. Wegman, approved by the city, reviewed by the city, and the work was done for that demolition work.
So, Mr. Gallo.
When I had my previous discussions with R.C. Wegman, they said that they had provided no estimate and that no bids had come in. They hadn't gotten to that point yet, and then here we are with the actual work being conducted.
So,
Well, I don't know when you had that conversation with R.C. Wegman, so it's hard for me to say.
I'll pull up the dates that we had our meetings prior to R.C. Wegman here for a city council meeting. And I would like to see then, at any point, the competitive bids that we did receive in
Those are-
conjunction with that.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's
Yes,
fine.
sir.
But those are available.
Okay.
Mr. Gallo, anything?
I'll pull up the date and I'll supply it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Mr. Bud Matts.
So could we pull that one payment item and let it go until the next warrant,
So you make a
pending
motion?
the receipt of all that information and complete information?
So, Mr. Bud Matts, do you wish to pull this item and,
Just that item.
okay. Do we have a second to Mr.?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Gallo. Is there further discussion on Mr. Bud Matts? Mr. Diastis.
By pulling this amount, does it have any impact on future work with the consulting company?
Is Mr. Crumstock, or is that we go back to Mr.
To legal.
McCall?
Well, we've got 2 weeks that we're not going to meet, so.
3 weeks.
Well,
Three- so
2
three-
weeks intervening. So
Right.
we won't be here for 3 weeks, so, I don't know. I don't know what position they're going to take, so if you want to pull it and wait that period of time, I mean, it's up to the council.
So, Mr. Gallo?
Contractually, in the Wegman contract, if there's a discrepancy with billing, we do have a grace period to dispute these. So I think it would be in order to dispute this with Wegman until we figure it out on our end.
Well,
Thank-
don't,
I'm sorry. go
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
ahead.
step
I
on
just want to say if you're, yes, Mr. Gallo, okay, Mr.
I don't know that there's a dispute with anything at this point, so to label it as being a dispute, maybe a little bit
So,
Maybe.
of a misnomer, so.
So I think going forward, I think that's a legitimate request. We just need to put it before the council to postpone it, and that would give us 3 weeks to have discussions or meetings
Yeah.
and have any questions answered.
Simply because I don't recall the council agreeing to move forward with anything to do with the Hicks Road property yet and a budget to
So-
that.
So is there further discussion on that? Mr. Cannon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I'd ask either our lawyer or Mr. Crumstock. All of the bids that we put out are public knowledge, right? I mean, so there's nothing being hidden here, and they were competitively bid. So, I mean, we had access to those before the meeting tonight.
That's
Well,
not.
let me
Excuse me,
just.
Go ahead, Mr. Cannon.
I'm
Yes, Mr.
sorry.
McCall. Go ahead, Mr. McCall. Well, no, I'm sorry. Mr. McCall has the floor.
Maybe to clarify the question here, I'm not calling into question whether or not the bids have been competitively
Right.
open to the public. It's a matter of the scope of work has not been agreed upon by the council for that particular site. We haven't agreed to a budget, we haven't agreed to any spending for any
so-
specific scopes of work.
So
I,
go ahead, Mr. McCall.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to interject. Alderman Cannon asked the city manager a question.
Yes.
The city manager shook his head
And
horizontally as to indicate no, but did not verbally say no.
Yes.
So I think his response was a no. Well, they were bid out, yes, but.
Right. I think the question here is that you're looking for more information to go forward. So if we postpone it for 3 weeks, everyone's questions will be answered, and we can go forward in 3 weeks. So there's a motion on the floor by, is there for any other discussion before we call the question? Mr. We're clarified?
Just one more clarification, that in Schedule J,
Yes.
demolition was specifically excluded in all scopes of work.
I understand, and all those questions can be answered after we do this. So, Mr. Budmetz, so you'd like to postpone the payment of this bill until the next meeting in November, correct?
That was my motion.
Right, and you've been seconded by Mr. Gallo.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Gallo.
To exclude this payment? Yes.
Pardon me.
Baner.
Yeah.
Diastis.
Yes?
Williams.
Yes.
Cannon.
No.
Budmetz.
Yes.
Majikis.
No.
With 5 in favor and 2 opposed, that amendment does pass. Are there any other questions on the warrant? Yes, Mr. Diastis.
I think, and I don't know if this is the appropriate place, but a question like that, there is some validity to it, but shouldn't that be something that's brought up prior to this meeting so that we're not delaying payment to vendors? I mean, I'm not questioning the validity of the payment, just
But
I think it's something that should take place ahead of time.
Just saw it.
just,
So
excuse
that-
me, Mr. Gallo, let him speak, please. Thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr.
Thank
Diastis.
you. I think it's something that should probably take place ahead of time so that staff can prepare whatever information. Then the question can be asked here, and staff would have whatever facts and figures that are required to be presented to the council so we can make a decision. That's all.
I understand, but your point is well taken, Mr. Diastis. So staff will, and anyone else who has questions for staff before the next meeting, please direct your questions. Mr. Budmetz.
In response to Mr. Diastis' comment, I did meet with staff about this very item prior to this meeting, and obviously I didn't know about it until it came out on Friday's agenda. So between Friday and today, I have met with staff about this item, and that's why I pulled it.
Okay.
Thank you. Did we vote? Did we vote on that? Yeah. We did. Okay, we're good. The next item on the agenda are the consent resolutions. They consist of 3. I'm sorry, did we? Did we pass?
Just the
Will the clerk
motion.
please call the roll for the warrants, please?
Okay, Baner,
Yes.
Diastis,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Cannon,
Yes.
Bud Matts,
Yes.
Majikis,
Yes.
Gallo,
Yes.
7 in favor and none opposed. The warrant is approved. That brings us to the next item on the agenda, the consent resolution. It consists of 3 items, H through J. Does Alderman wish to remove an item? Mr. Cannon.
Jay?
Anything else? The chair then declares it in order for one motion to consider items H and I. Is there such a motion? Mr. Baner has made that. It has been seconded. The question is, shall all resolutions be adopted? Resolution number 18-R-105 is to approve the Rolling Meadows Fire Department's participation in the Northwest Community Hospital Mobile Integrated Healthcare Pilot Program. This resolution, if adopted, would approve the city's fire department to enter into an agreement with Northwest Community Hospital to participate in the Illinois Department of Public Health approved Mobile Integrated Healthcare Pilot Program. I, resolution number 18-R-106, approve the purchase of snow, ice control road salt for the winter 2018-19. This resolution, if adopted, would authorize the purchase of a snow ice control salt for the winter season of 2018-19. The city has in the past purchased its street salt in conjunction with the State of Illinois Joint Purchasing Program. This has been a reliable method in obtaining salt for the city in both the guarantee of supply and in program administration. The state CMS has informed the city of awarding of a contract for the city of Rolling Meadows to Compass Minerals America at a cost of $45.06 per ton for winter 2018-2019 for 12,000 tons. Price for the salt in 2015-2016 and in 2016-17 was $61.95 per ton in comparison. Price for salt in 2017-2018 was $45.06 per ton, same as proposed for the previous winter. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Diastis,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Cannon,
Yes.
Bud Matts,
Yes.
Majikis,
Yes.
Gallo,
Yes.
Baner,
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed. It moves forward. Resolution J, number 18-R-107, is to award a contract for the water system SCADA telemetry communications equipment design, programming, and integration. This resolution, if adopted, would award a contract to Concentra Integration for $125,300,000, which will authorize the first of 2-phase project needed to update the SCADA telemetry network. This first telemetry phase will include the necessary equipment, design, and programming required for the future installation of the equipment. This will allow the SCADA water computer to communicate through private cellular network to the potable water stations throughout the city. Do I have a motion to move this forward? Mr. Baner has made that. Ms. Majikis has seconded. Mr. Cannon, you pulled this. You have first choice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not really opposed to this, but I've read this write-up a couple of times, and to me, maybe just the way I'm reading it, but it seems a little bit confusing to me. It seems that this write-up would indicate that there's some people are not real thrilled with this project. And I don't know if I'm misinterpreting the write-up, but it just seems to be, I know my take on the write-up seems to be everybody's not on board with this, but that's my take. And I just was concerned about that. I hope this is a lot of money to be spending if we're not 100% sure of this project.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Cannon. Okay. Any other discussion? Mr. Diastis?
Thank you. I had questions about this too, but mine are different than Mr. Cannon's. Mine are, it seems, again, in just a background write-up, that we lost 2 staff members, and then the project seemed to start to fail, and now we want to go ahead and hire back the people who started to install it first to fix it. And I guess I have a concern about that, because it says here, Concentric Integration is a subsidiary of Baxter Woodman, highly skilled, yada, yada. Both companies were instrumental in development of the system currently used by NWS Java, which is beneficial. So I'm not sure why we are going back to the company that installed it to fix it if it was broke to start. And do we have a training issue here where we lost 2 key people and now all of a sudden we're going to fix the system? So I'm a little concerned on those 2 issues.
So you have 2 questions, Mr. Diastis?
2 questions. One is the training issue, how that
Okay.
has impacted, and do we have to have other people trained on the current system before we spend $125,000 this year and I don't know how much next year, and why going back to the same company that installed it in the first place?
Okay. Sure. Mr. Horn, I believe that would be
Yeah.
your expertise.
Yes. The first answer to the first question, Baxter Woodman was not the first company to install. That was Automation Engineering. They're the company that we have chosen to no longer use due to retirements and turnover in their own company, and for less reliable services than Baxter Woodman Concentric can provide. That's the first item. The second question was regarding our staff being trained. The utility superintendent that retired earlier this year was very highly skilled in SCADA operation and design and implementation. The utility supervisor to my right, Jeff Stewart, was promoted in the summer of this year. Very highly skilled in the operation of the system, not so much in the development of the system. So we need a company to help guide us into some of these improvements as we move forward into the future. And to, if I could, to answer Alderman Cannon's, we are very excited about the steps we are taking. We are entirely, as a staff, on board with these decisions. There are going to be great improvements, not only for the Public Works Department and Water Division, but for the city as a whole, in our ability to operate the system much more efficiently and at a much lower cost than we are today.
Thank you. Mr. Diastis?
So if we're gaining efficiency, does that mean future rates are going to come down?
In regard to, well, rates regarding the water system, I cannot say, but in regard to our phone service and the telemetry, the way the systems communicate, absolutely our rates will go down, which the city pays currently.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Williams.
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
Bud Matts.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
Yes.
Baner.
Yes.
Diastis.
Okay, yes.
With 7 in favor and none opposed, it does move forward. This brings the council to other businesses and reports. There are no appointments, proclamations. City clerk, you have any, no reports?
No.
Brings us to city staff reports. Is there community items of interest?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I'll keep this quick because the other city attorney is sitting in the back. But obviously, we want to thank everybody. What the mayor did mention that last Saturday on October 13th, the fire department conducted their annual open house. We do appreciate everybody showing up on a brisk but sunny day. The comprehensive plan open house is scheduled for this Thursday, October 25th, in this room. It's between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. in the council chambers, obviously, as I mentioned. Or you can always visit www.planforrollingmeadows.org and take the survey or learn more. If you want additional information, please see business advocate Martha Corner in the room right now. She actually has some paper copies too, if you would like. Coming up this Saturday, October 27th, the Rolling Meadows Police Department and the DEA are scheduling a National Prescription Drug Takebacks Day scheduled. It will happen between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. here at the City Hall parking lot. Obviously, this is a great way of getting unused drugs and other prescriptions and unwanted ones, or if you're just cleaning up, out of your house and out of the area. But we do want to remind people here on The second floor of City Hall, we do have a gray box that Cook County does provide to us that we do prescription pretty much 24/7. If you can get buzzed in, you can also drop off. But again, the DEA does schedule these take-backs. These are great days to come in. Obviously, there are no questions. You can drop anything off during these take-back events. If you want additional information about our gray box here on the second floor or about the take-back day, please contact Chief Nowacki at 847-394-8500. And then the next thing, obviously, on Wednesday, October 31st, Halloween trick-or-treat hours are scheduled for the city of Rolling Meadows between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. And obviously, as you drove into the parking lot here at City Hall, we do have our annual candy disposal bin, container, whatever you want to call it, right by the mailboxes. If you have any candy that you have a concern about that is collected, just drop it off. It goes in there, and it obviously gets disposed of. Monday, November 5th is early refuse set-out begins, so please place your refuse to the curb no earlier than 3 p.m. the day prior to pickup. November 16th to November 18th is the Friends of the Rolling Meadows Fall Book Sale in the library at 3110 Martin Lane. It will be conducted on Friday, November 16th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, November 17th, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Sunday, November 18th from 1 a.m. to 4 p.m. There are bargain galore. If you're looking to purchase, you can also go to the little libraries that are throughout the Rolling Meadows. We do have one at the community garden that does need some books again. But again, it's a great way of giving back to the library. With leaves falling, just a friendly reminder that residents, please do not dump and blow your leaves, grass clippings, any of those kind of things down the sewer. We do want to reiterate that the city actually has our street sweeper working and the contractor is actually working throughout the community at this point in time too. And then obviously here at City Hall, we do have flyers actually in the council chambers and downstairs on the first floor. The Rolling Meadows Rotary Club is doing their 25th annual Thanksgiving holiday food drive. It is also sponsored by the Rolling Meadows High School Student Council and Interact Club. It is set to run from Monday, November 5th to Friday, November 9th. The food drive does benefit All Saints Lutheran Church Food Pantry, which serves Rolling Meadows, Palatine, Arlington Heights. Please collect a sheet, see what's out there. If you have any questions, please contact Amy Charlesworth at the Rolling Meadows Park District at 847-818-3220, extension 111. Or you can see Public Works Director Fred Vogt, who's sitting in the back, and he would be more than happy. And again, part of their collection, if you do not want to bring it to BMO Harris or if you have anything else, they would actually pick up any of the collection stuff for you too. Obviously, we do want to remind people that the October electronic news and views is out. We do call it the e-news and views. Some of the October topics include Kirchhoff Road resurfacing, the duck race recap, monthly calendar and events, our police canine earning a bronze at the Canine Olympics, the fire safety and fire department open house that's already done, and then filing deadline looming for the April 2019 election. Obviously, the solicitor required to be here and any of those kind of pieces. Rolling Meadows has again partnered with the United States Marine Corps to collect Toys for Tots. Obviously, we will start that in November. Residents may deliver new unused toys here at City Hall, and we'll also have a collection site at the library. And this goes until about the first week in December. And then the City of Rolling Meadows Swank and the Elgin Recycling will be conducting a holiday light recycling program. Collection boxes will be located here at City Hall on the outside. Items to be collected include mini lights or Italian lights, C7 lights, C9 lights, rope lights, LED lights, and all those kind of lights that you can consider. The program will start on Monday, November 5th and runs to February 15th, 2019. And obviously, because it's the last meeting of the month, and we do have a fifth Tuesday of this month, so that's a good thing. But for future topics for November committee meetings, the Economic Development Committee will be meeting Tuesday, November 6th at 6 p.m. Tentative items scheduled for this meeting deal with the business list feedback, outdoor seating discussion. This is a continuation and will continue for a little bit before it's actually done, and then we'll bring it to City Council Committee of the Whole meeting. 2019 business showcase discussion. We do have a date and time for that. Business advocate update, other items of interest in the Chamber of Commerce update. Then Planning and Zoning Commission will meet on Tuesday, November 6th at 7:30 p.m. Currently, there are 2 public hearings tentatively scheduled, and they consist of a sign appeal for a freestanding sign, additional wall-mounted sign, the property located at 5201 Tollview, that's our M1 manufacturing district. Jason Moorhead of Landmark Signs is the petitioner. It's really that U-Haul building that you see off of 90 and 53. But this actually is needed for them. This was postponed from the October 2nd meeting per the petitioner's request. The second item that is set to go is clarification of a text amendment to section 122-221B of the City of Rolling Meadows zoning code to allow religious use as a special use in the M1 manufacturing zoning district, City of Rolling Meadows petitioner. There will also be a brief discussion at the about the comprehensive plan and where we sit with some of the feedback that we've had. Please note, when I was writing this, actually the planning and zoning was also looking at potentially using next Tuesday, October 30th, to have a discussion, but they were still working on potentially on a quorum or not. So those are items of interest for this council meeting.
And Mr. Crumstock, new business list?
Actually, it consists of nothing. We did not have anybody come in with new business payments, I should say. We do have a new business that was mentioned, but they did not pay. But you will see in October some additional and then some November ones.
Okay. Thank you. That gives us Traffic Review Committee. Mr. Vogt?
Thank you, Mayor. The Traffic Review Committee met October 3rd to highlight to the Mayor and Council some of the discussion items. Kingfisher Lane was a continued discussion regarding parking, request of a resident to prohibit parking in a certain area on both sides of the street. The committee still doesn't have evidence that we've seen to justify it, so we've deferred this item. And I point out as well that Kingfisher Lane, whether it be resurfaced or widened at some point in the future, may alleviate that problem. So our committee says let's just monitor that for the time being. Second item, Meadowbrook Drive. We've got a number of issues, concerns brought to our attention regarding parking from some businesses as well as some trucks parked there. This will be reappearing at the November Traffic Review Committee with some updated information based on police department, city engineer, and public works monitoring the conditions down there. We're expecting probably some changes to the no parking restrictions in that general location, but we'll take that up at the November meeting and report back to the Mayor and Council in November. Items completed, Fairfax at Rowling, directional signage for the apartment complex that has made that intersection safer and was a recommendation of the committee a few months ago. Golf Road in New Wilkie, signs to point out right turns must yield to bicycle and pedestrians. Those signs are on order. Tollview Drive, occasional problem reported there with semi-trailer truck parking. I noticed a truck parked there again today, so that's really an enforcement issue rather than the no parking restriction signs are deemed adequate there, just an enforcement problem. Had a complaint registered about where the directional signs are on Kirchhoff Road for the library. We'll investigate that and discuss that next month. Other item for discussion in November will be potential funding opportunities, bike path extensions, connections. There are grants available. The Traffic Review Committee wanted to look at that with regards to the city's bike path plan and also in regards to monitoring the comprehensive plan update for future discussions. Lastly, we talked about wayfinding signs, signage needed. Some of that is related to the bike paths, and that will also be a future discussion item for this committee. So that's our report for October, and we will next meet on November 7th.
Thank you, Mr. Vogt. Are there matters not on the agenda this evening? There is a request to go into closed session. There are 3 items that will be on the closed session agenda. Litigation for 5 ILCS 120-2C11 for the Open Meetings Act. Personnel number 5 ILC 120/21 of the Open Meetings Act, and another for personnel 5 ILCS 122(1) of the Illinois Open Meetings Act. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved, Mayor.
Ms. Majikis has made it. There is a second. Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cannon.
Yes.
Bud Matts.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
Yes.
Baner.
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
With 7 in favor, none opposed, we will be going into closed session. The audience and press are advised that we do not anticipate taking any action at this time.